É o seguinte, no vídeo de hoje a gente tem uma convidada muito especial, a Alwyn Hamilton, autora da série Rebelde do Deserto. O segundo volume, A Traidora do Trono, acabou de chegar nas livrarias, então a gente aproveitou para fazer umas perguntinhas para ela.
Hi, I'm Alwyn Hamilton, and I am the author of Rebelde of the Sands and Traitor to the Throne. What inspired me to write Rebelde of the Sands was because I was hearing a lot at a certain time about strong female characters and how it didn't make sense for them to appear in action hero roles, and basically how girls just aren't physically as strong as men, so it didn't make sense for them to be wielding weapons and kicking butt. So I got quite angry about that because I thought it was a very patronizing, sexist article, and I decided that I would write a female heroine with a skill that wasn't requiring force, that wasn't a strength-based skill to sort of destroy that argument in terms of fighting. And that wound up being a female sharpshooter because I thought, you need aim, not strength to pull the trigger on a gun. So I ended up coming up with the idea for Amani first, and then I thought, well, a female sharpshooter belongs in a Western. I don't really want to write a normal Western. So I thought for a long time about what to combine it with, and I came up with the idea of combining it with 1001 Nights, and Rebelde of the Sands was born out of that world, essentially. Amani can't tell a lie. I am also the worst liar you have ever met. I don't think to lie naturally. I one time told my boss that the reason I was late to work was because I stayed in bed an extra 5 minutes watching Taylor Swift's new video, which was entirely true. I just, I should have said bad traffic or something. But so I'm compulsively honest, and that is the biggest thing that I share with Amani, is the inability to tell a lie. I definitely think living in multiple countries has influenced my writing. I've traveled a lot as well. My parents work in travel, so we went all over the place. I think just in terms of what you learn in history and come up with, that has a huge impact. Like, we learned a lot about the French Revolution growing up in France, and spoiler alert, there's a rebellion in Rebelde of the Sands. So I think that definitely helped. And I think also just the fact that I grew up speaking another language at school than I did at home meant that I really had a division about reading for pleasure versus reading for work. I never lost my love of reading because I only ever read in English for pleasure, and I read in French for school. So that was important for me. My favorite part for Traitor to the Throne was editing it, actually. I handed in a draft of Traitor to the Throne that was such a mess. There were so many different ideas in there. And it really was amazing to have other smart people come in and look at the book and offer their thoughts and their feedback and get to work on it. It felt like taking sort of a messy room and tidying it up until I was really proud of how it looked. I really loved that. My least favorite is probably page proofs, the very last stage of edits, just because by that point you've read the book so many times that you can't almost read the words anymore. Like, it's like looking at a picture rather than reading words. You can't absorb any information anymore. And because it's sort of the 12th time you've read it, nothing is surprising to you anymore. Nothing is exciting. So you're like, yeah, it's a plot twist. Yes, it's a kissing scene. Even though I love all those scenes now, obviously when you read them 12 times in a row, it's tough. It's really hard to say. I don't like to pick favorites like with a parent, but I love, love, love Sam, who appears in Traitor to the Throne, who is, I don't want to spoil him for you, but he is a sort of thief, bandit, foreigner, a bit of a rogue, and he sort of comes into Amani's life in an unexpected way at an opportune moment, and he thinks of himself as like a dramatic hero with a cape in sort of like a swashbuckling movie, and he's actually like a little bit ridiculous, but he's so much fun to write. He's really fun and funny, and sort of lightens the mood when everyone is quite serious. So the power that I would pick if I were a Demji is not a power that's actually introduced until book 3, but it's a power that I know that the jinn have, which is teleportation. They can move from one spot to another in the blink of an eye, which is someone who hates commuting and hates flying and hates traveling and is always late for everything and I'm never leaving on time. I would 100% want teleportation. I would have to pick Shahzad to be by my side in a time of trouble because she's good under pressure, she's smart, she's a good fighter, all those things, but more importantly, she doesn't abandon people. Like Amani is, she's come some way, but she's a little bit out for herself still, and Jin is fantastic for the people that he really cares about, but those people are few and far between. So Shahzad is loyal to the core, she doesn't leave anyone behind, so I feel like she would be able to look out for me in a time of crisis. I have been to a desert. I went to the desert in Morocco when I was a kid. We went all around the country and we actually spent a night in the desert riding camels out sort of into the middle of nowhere, which are incredibly uncomfortable animals. And then we pitched a tent in the desert and slept there overnight. And it was incredibly cool. And you wake up and all you can see is sand as far as the eye can see. And then you go back on a camel again. So that was really fun. So Traitor to the Throne picks up about 6 months after the end of Rebel of the Sands. So Amani is firmly ensconced in the rebellion. She is part of it. She's thrown herself behind the cause, and the rebellion has actually gained quite a bit of traction. It's come a long way, but it's reaching the point where it either needs to become a war or fall apart. And so it all comes to a head at the moment when something terrible happens and the rebels have to flee their camp, and Amani winds up captured and imprisoned by the Sultan. So you can expect palaces, jealous wives, harems, intrigue, murder, executions, secret babies, explosions, and kissing scenes, basically. I would love to visit Brazil. I've never been. My parents have been a few times and they didn't take me with them because they clearly don't love me. But they've told me such amazing things and I would absolutely love to visit Brazil sometime. So I hope I get the opportunity to. Thank you so much and I'll see you soon.
E aí, ficou com tanta vontade de ler e reler a série quanto a gente? Antes de correr pro livro, curta o vídeo, se inscreva no canal e aproveita para conhecer nossas outras redes sociais. Até terça!